I'm just about to start the final polishing of these absolutely sensational George Cleverley, and whilst I just give them the final minute or two of just dry buffing, with an extraordinarily fine, close to being rotten cloth. This is one of my favourite sort of polishing cloths. Look at the state of it. It's so close to being rotten. It's just a very, very, very old bed sheet that's been just worn and boiled. And anyway, let's try and remind ourselves of quite how, what a truly sorry condition, these shoes are in. I purchased them probably about 5 years ago, and to be honest with you, I didn't have time to do anything for some time. But I restored the other shoe, which is actually over here, and that's really lovely. But it's covered in dust. That needs another polish. That was done about a year ago, and it was all done on camera. But I partly ran out of enthusiasm, partly energy, and partly time to sort of try and finish this one. But as a pair, they were spectacularly degraded. They'd been worn and loved, and the original owner was Prince Rupert Lowenstein. These were made in 1969 by George Cleverley. And he just wore them and polished them and wore them, and they stretched and stretched, and all of this had sort of stretched dramatically. There was you could pinch about 30 millimetres here, and all of this area was just bulging over. You could squeeze. It's all on video. Now, a lot of the original stitching around here had completely rotted. These elastics had stretched dramatically, and they're all baggy. And obviously, once the stitching had rotted, then the skin split, and it split dramatically. The other one was the same. I've managed to successfully have a split there and a split there. Good sort of 10, 12 mil split, and here. So there's been a huge amount of work, and there was acres of polish, sort of 45, 50 years worth of polish had built upon these pair. So the first job was to remove the polish, which in itself took many, many hours. Once I'd removed the polish, I was then able to sort of address the tears to the skin and the splitting and restitch them by hand. And once I'd restitched them by hand, I was able to use the original tree, which literally flopped about. It's become nice and tight now, but you could just pour the tree out. It just fell out. They were that stretched. Now, bear in mind, that's an original bespoke tree, which is the original shape. It was lasted to fit this shoe. That hasn't changed because it's wood. And there was a huge amount of stretch. So I managed to reshape and resize and just bring back the classical George Cleverley silhouette and profile that we recognise, because that had been completely lost. These weren't recognisable as Cleverley. So you can see, before we even we were able to sort of make them look like George Cleverley, there was a massive amount, tens and tens of hours of work on both shoes. And then we were left with the problem of the horrendous sort of surface. It was like crackle glaze. They were that dry on the surface and swollen and cracked. And that's taken tens of hours to shave away. All of these have been done on camera. And I'm just giving them the final buff now before I start to apply the polishers. And so obviously, once they've been resurfaced in the last couple of weeks, they've been re-dyed and moisturised. And now I'm just buffing that moisturiser. I think that's probably enough. Let me just pop my fine cloth down, and I'll pop on a pair of gloves, because I've got two polishers here. I've got a very, very hard polish, which will be for the toe caps and just around the heel areas, and then a more regular sort of softer polish. That won't shine as well, but it will be flexible and it won't crack. This really high gloss polish, it will just simply crack. You're wasting your time trying to do a mirror gloss anywhere other than the toe caps and just on these heel areas, just the areas it doesn't bend. I shall need a little bit of water just behind me. Let's have a look. This will do. There we go. There we go. That should be enough. Just a few little squirts. There we go. It's very, very early in the morning. It looks light outside, but in fact it's not. It's really rather dark. I've got this is just outside here, is the pavement directly outside my shop. And we've got a very large sign with an enormous sort of trough light, and it lights up the pavement, so it does look light outside, but it's not, it's dark. And because it's so early, the shop's not open, and I'm able to sort of, there we go, where's my, that's what I'm after. Scratching around behind me, the cloth's behind me. Because it's so early, the shop's not open, so I'm able to sort of work in the shop and make this video. I need to be able to do it standing up. Quite often I like to sit down in the window if you've seen my other videos. But more recently I've had a problem with the microphone on the camera. And the lapel mic jack just doesn't work. So here we go, tiny bit of water. And I'm going to do a bit of the hard polish first. And my polish is absolutely knackered. Look at the state of it, gosh. I do need a new tin, but let's try and find a bit I can sort of wedge. I need to be able to use a lot of friction, so I need to be, there we go. Let's wedge that into the corner. And I'll probably have to hold it. Ridiculous, I know, but hey, this is where we are. Here we go. I do need a new tin. What a disaster this is. There we go, so at least a little bit. And I'm just going to do a tiny little bit on the heel with this hard polish. Here, I'll do the toe. I can't do the toe where it comes down here, because when you walk that bit bends, but you can do this whole area, about the size of the lid of the actually no, it's smaller than that. It's smaller than the lid of the tin. But this will probably realistically have about 20 coats of the very, very hard polish. Just mix with water. You do need to mix it with water. Let's go back for a tiny bit more water and a bit more of my mashed up crunch polish. What can I do about this? I suppose if I were to put a hairdryer on this and soften it slightly, that would help. But I am struggling with the polish being in fragments. Normally you circle and rub a bit of friction into it. This is a bit awkward because it is in fragments, but never mind. Let's go back, do a little bit more on the toe. As I was saying, I will do these toes certainly more than 10 times, perhaps as much as 20 times, just this tiny area that I'm showing you here. And working in circular motions, need a tiny bit more water. Ooh, need a bit more polish. It kind of, it's weird, you feel it start to drag. And the polish is way too hard to apply straight out of the tin. So you do need to mix it with water and you need the friction. But if there's not enough polish on the cloth, the water bulks. So you just get used to it with experience, what it should feel like. Working in circular motions here. But like I say to you, it's very, very early in the morning. Go back for a bit more polish. And the shop's not open. And I'm unlikely to be hopefully, I'm unlikely to be harassed by anybody seeing me with a camera set up in the window and start banging on the windows. That's the problem when you record live. I do not edit these films. What gets recorded basically gets published. Partly I don't have the skills to edit, but I like sort of the real time live experience, the unsanitized version, so to speak. I do have a YouTube channel. People expect an awful lot more on YouTube. They expect it to be well edited, and truthfully, I just haven't got the skills. I just don't have the skills to present the edits. I've got a wonderful sort of 4K camera setup and all of the professional editing equipment, but I just can't use it. And I must make a little more effort this year to whoops, there goes my brush, never mind. I must make a little more effort this year to get back to the YouTube, because it was a friend very, very generously lent me a lot of equipment and a huge amount of his time. And he doesn't have the time to keep helping me, and without his help I'm a bit snookered. Not so much with the recording. I've learned to present camera now. I did find it a bit of a nightmare a couple of years ago. If I'm truthful with you, the stress of presenting to camera, it actually made me sick. I'd get myself all ready, all suited up, get my tie on, everything, and turn the camera on and panic and vomiting on myself, which is very, very sad. And it took me 6 months to actually get over that fear of speaking to the camera. It was one of those things, I am naturally quite a shy person, and it was just agony. And I managed to get over that anyway, and I've probably got better speaking to camera over time. On the YouTube ones, on the 4K, I do try to have the whole studio set up with my face in the camera, and I'm obviously, made up for camera. In these here, they're much in the salon, they're much more spontaneous. I'm a hairstylist, and I do either work inside or outside the salon making these videos, and if the salon's quiet, or, you know, I'm here a lot of hours, but I'm not necessarily, you know, dealing with the client all those hours. And, you know, I've been here since 5 o'clock this morning. If I'm truthful with you, I'm not sleeping very well at the moment. And I just, yeah, I deal with shoes to sort of keep me occupied in the quieter time, so to speak. So these can be spontaneous. I can make a video in 2 or 3 minutes. But the YouTube ones, because they're more studio, the camera's enormous, the lighting has to be perfect, my suit, everything has to be all perfect. I can't be so spontaneous. I do love the YouTube, and I really want to get back to it. But of course, I've got to really learn how to edit the videos, because there's so much depth, and you can't really be so spontaneous and produce them unedited. You just can't do it. But anyway, let's just, so we've got a little bit of the very, very soft polish, just in the ultra shine areas. But that's the limit of where you can apply the hard polish. There, and just that toe cap. And what I'm going to do now is move the hard polish, get the soft polish, get the water out of the way, because I probably won't need the water. Let's just move to a different area of the cloth. And this is all crunchy as well, but it's so soft. It comes out of the tin rather easily, and it's a nice polish, but it's not a hard polish. It's a regular polish, and it doesn't give the same level of shine, but it gives a very nice shine, and it won't break. So if I were mad enough to try and put the hard polish here, it would simply break. It would just crack. It would look truly, truly dreadful. Within a few seconds of wearing the shoes, it would have horrible, horrible cracks. It'd all be flaking off. I'd have to start again. So I won't put a lot of layers on. Probably 3 or 4 layers, absolute maximum. And that will be it, really. 3 or 4 layers of the very soft polish on the areas of the shoe that flakes. And on the areas of the toe caps and the heel area, you can pretty much put as much as you like, and I will do a minimum of 10. You just watch me apply 3. But realistically, in the next 12 hours or so, I'll probably apply as much as 20 applications on the toe and the heel area. Even with the soft polish, you can't apply that number of coats. Even the soft polish will sort of, if it doesn't crack, if it's so thick, it will sort of, when you wear the shoes in the bend, it will wrinkle. So let's just, it's a laborious task. It can be, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, soothing, I suppose. You know, if you like little tedious tasks, this can be soothing. But some people, oops, I've just gone over the hard bit. Let's just wipe that off. Doesn't matter. I'll go back over it with the hard polish again. And this will flex, and it moves a lot around the ankle, so you can't put the hard polish there. I just want to give you a sense of what's involved. You know, I don't want to bore you to tears trying to film this. Realistically, this polishing will go on for many hours, so I just want to give you a sense of what's involved. I find it quite soothing to do at certain times.